Our top story this hour, humanitarians under attack. At least 9 are dead, dozens of others injured, and hundreds of activists in Israeli prisons today after special forces raided 6 flotilla ships bringing aid to the Gaza Strip. Here to tell us more, investigative journalist and RT contributor Wayne Madsen. Wayne, I want to talk about a couple different things, but first of all, the Turkish ship that was involved in this, that was working with the pro-Gaza movement to bring in these supplies, you have some familiarity with. I want to hear your perspective here.
Well, the primary group in Turkey that organized the Turkish flotilla is called IHH, and we've heard from the Israeli government officials. They've said this group was somehow affiliated with Al-Qaeda. I met with the IHH people when I was in Turkey in April, and all I can say in response to the Israeli allegations is that's offensive claptrap from that regime in Jerusalem. These are humanitarians. These are human rights people. They were as concerned about the human rights situation in Turkey as they are in places like Gaza. So this is probably the worst kind of propaganda we've heard from a government since Nazi Germany claimed they invaded Poland in '39 because they were responding to a Polish attack on Germany.
I want to talk also about, it's a pretty interesting relationship, it seems to me, between Turkey and Israel. Turkey is somewhat of a Muslim country and in some ways has been seen as the bridge to the Muslim world. There is a working relationship between the two countries, or has been for years. How do you see this changing now?
Well, obviously, there has been a relationship. It's basically between Israel and the Turkish military, Turkish intelligence. It started in the 1990s, but the present AK party government in Turkey, which has been accused by Israel and its friends of being an Islamist government, it's a reform government, not Islamist. They have adopted a policy of engaging in friendly relations with all of their neighbors. That's a new thing for Turkey, and that includes their support for what essentially in Gaza is a open-air ghetto, a blockaded strip of land twice the size of the District of Columbia. So this relationship started to sour when Prime Minister Erdogan of Turkey basically stormed off of out of a meeting with Shimon Peres at the Davos Economic Forum some years ago. And it has been a close relationship, but we now know that Turkey has recalled its ambassador. A previous ambassador, of course, was pretty much browbeaten in public by the Israeli government over some comments from the Turkish government. But I would say that the special relationship between Turkey and Israel is, for all intents and purposes, over with.
Certainly today we heard some of the leadership there calling this a very bloody massacre. Let's move on to the incident itself. The flotilla in this case bringing several tons of supplies into the Gaza Strip. We're talking medicine, food, classroom supplies. However, those involved have made no secret about the fact that this mission was also about bringing attention to the blockade. What do you suppose they expected to be met with when they tried to surpass the blockade?
Well, obviously, there were previous attempts to run the blockade. There was a flotilla that sailed from Cyprus, where former Green Party presidential candidate and Congresswoman Cynthia McKinney was on board. She was arrested, taken to Ashdod, put in a prison. I understand from her she was put in a prison with 5 Ethiopian women refugees, was basically treated very poorly. And I think once again, this is Israel thumbing its nose. This is a former presidential candidate, former member of Congress. In this flotilla, we had a former U.S. ambassador, someone I know, Ed Peck, former ambassador to Iraq. He was, I guess he's being deported now. Retired Army Colonel Ann Wright, a very noted anti-war celebrity. She was also arrested. So again, Israel doesn't really care about public opinion. They've shown once again that they, very much like the apartheid regime in South Africa, their old nuclear weapons partner, and many people now, and it's getting more and more attention that this Israeli government may go the way of the apartheid regime in South Africa, that their days are numbered.
We talked just a couple minutes ago about the relationship between Turkey and Israel. I want to talk now about the relationship between the United States and Israel. For years and years, most of my lifetime, this is a strong friendship, one with a strong foundation. And there is talk now that this specific incident could be a game changer. What do you think about that?
It's a nice thought, but what we've heard from the White House so far is that they're supporting Israel doing its own investigation. That's a non-starter. Israel will cover up as they cover up all their other blatant violations of international human rights and international law. We know that Hillary Clinton has made phone calls to foreign leaders asking them to tone down their criticism of Israel. And as far as Congress is concerned, it's so much under the influence of the American Israel Public Affairs Committee. Some people call Congress Israeli-occupied territory as much as the West Bank and East Jerusalem.
So, certainly some people on your same page saying that AIPAC is just too powerful and it will take a lot more than this
Absolutely.
To make some major changes. Wayne Madsen, investigative journalist and RT contributor.